Welcome to Whippoorwill Holler. I'm Miss Lori and this is Mr. Brown. We live in the hills of Arkansas. We love the Lord. We love to cook. And we love to eat. We love to garden. We live a sustainable life. And every once in a while, we like to dance. So, a Cuban pork roast. It is so delicious. You know, pork is such a versatile piece of meat. You can just cook it just about any way. I mean, pork is one of my favorites, I can tell you. I was raised on pork. We were big hog farmers, so we always had fresh pork. But this recipe is just, it's simple. It's got simple ingredients. And it's not the authentic Cuban pork roast, but it's just my version. It's pretty close to it. And it's so good. It's a slow cook. Cook it all night. I'm going to be cooking mine in the slow cooker. You can put it in the oven on about 250 and cook it for about 10 hours. It's just so good. You can eat it with beans and rice. We're going to probably be making almost like street tacos out of it. So it's going to be so good. I can't wait. So you can use a pork butt. You can use a pork shoulder, anything like that. Some kind of pork roast. So let's get started on our Sunday dinner. It's going to be so good. Look at this beautiful piece of meat, y'all. This is a 9-pound pork butt. It's pretty lean. It does have some fat in between. And it has a big fat cap on the top. I've got some orange juice and a little bit of lemon juice in my jar. First thing I'm going to do is I'm going to salt this meat really good. Now I really don't have a recipe for this. I'm just showing y'all just this wonderful way of cooking this pork. But I am taking salt and I'm going to salt this meat down really good on all sides. And if I'd have put a dish towel underneath this pan, it wouldn't be sliding all over the place. I never think of that though. So I salted it good. Now we're going to take some black pepper. And when I get done putting the dry rub on this side of the meat, we will turn it over and season the other side. I'm going to get this side done first. And every time that I put some kind of seasoning on it, I want to rub it down really good. Now, I'm going to put mine in the slow cooker. And it's going to cook for 10 hours all night. And by Sunday morning, it'll be good and done and tender. But you can do this in the oven, like I said, about 250 for 10 hours. Now I'm going to take some cumin. I love cumin. I use it in everything. And I'm just going to sprinkle it a little bit over top. Then I'm going to kind of rub it in real good. But if you're going to cook this in the oven, and you could do this even if you're going to put it in the slow cooker, but I'm going to skip this step. But once you get your meat rubbed down good with all your seasoning, you can put it in a big Dutch oven or something and brown it really good. Just get a good char on each side before you put it in to cook. But I'm going to skip that step and I'm just going to put it in my slow cooker. So we got it rubbed down good with salt, pepper, and cumin. Now we're going to do some granulated garlic, roasted granulated garlic. And this piece of meat is going to have quite a bit of garlic by the time we get done with it. And once I get this side good and rubbed down, we'll do that other side with the fat cap. The reason I'm not going to cut off all that fat while it's cooking is because that fat's going to give it so much flavor. Now I'm taking my onion powder. I will try in the description box where I always put my recipes and all my information, which is below the videos. I will try my best to put maybe how many tablespoons of each thing I put on, each seasoning, but it's going to be hard because I just do it by eye. I just put it on there and rub it down. I tell y'all to always do it by your own taste, but I'll try to put down maybe as much as I put down, on my meat. And I've got oregano. This is Mexican oregano that I grew in my own garden, and I put it in my little grinder here. Ground it up really good. And we're just going to rub this oregano. Now, if you don't have Mexican oregano, you can use just regular oregano. I grow most of my herbs that I use. And you see that, look how thick that is. And you can put seasoning, all the way over it. I'm going to make sure all this meat gets seasoned up good. But I do grow my own herbs, and I just use my spice grinder and grind them up good. So we're just going to season this up. You want to try to get just every inch of that piece of meat as you can, get it seasoned up good. Now what I'm going to do with that fat cap is I'm just going to salt it down really good. But right now, I've turned my meat back over. And I'm going to punch me some really deep holes down in this meat. And I know a lot of y'all know what I'm fixing to do. I am fixing to put me some garlic down in these holes. And most people would put whole garlic cloves. I'm fixing to stick teaspoons of minced garlic down in these deep holes. You got whole cloves of garlic, and that's what you want to do, you go right ahead and do it. Because either way, it works, and it makes that meat, that garlic cooks down in that meat and just gives it such a good flavor. But really and truly, you really can't put too much garlic. Because I have done this and put just so many cloves of garlic or minced garlic, and then you put your garlic powder, and it just gives just a wonderful flavor, but it's not overpowering, is what I'm trying to say. But once you get your dry rub on here, of course I'm going to put my marinade in there. And if I had one of them big bags, I would have put my marinade in there and put my meat in there, but I don't. So that's why I'm just doing it in this pan. You marinate it in whatever you have that works, that you marinate your meat in. My marinade is made up of orange juice. Original recipe calls for about 5 what they call sour oranges that you will juice yourself. And then the juice of a lemon or 2, and just mix that up. And that's pretty much what your marinade would be. It's going to marinate, and that's citrus, that orange, and that lemon. It just makes your meat tender. It makes it juicy, and it just gives it a wonderful taste. A pork butt. It does have quite a bit of fat, but you've seen how much fat. I mean, there is a little bit of fat in and out through the meat, of course, but most of the fat is on the fat cap. And you want to leave that fat cap on your meat while it's cooking. That fat will render down into your meat and into the marinated juices, and it's going to make that piece of meat taste just so wonderful. But once you get it cooked, you can take that fat, most of that fat, just right off of there, because you don't want to eat all that fat. But you sure want to leave it on there to cook with it. That's for sure. So we got our dry rub on here. And we'll flip it over. And we're going to salt that fat cap down. And what it does is, let's say for instance you are cooking this in the oven. I know I'm sitting here, I'm talking to you. I just want to explain this to you. If you're going to cook this in the oven and you've done browned it, you've done kind of give it a good scald on all sides before you put it in your roaster or whatever, your Dutch oven. And you've salted that fat cap down. What that salt's going to do, it's just really going to render that fat down, and it's just going to give that fat cap a crispy edge on it, if that's what you want. Of course, you're not going to eat all that fat, but I'm just telling you, if you salt it down really good, that's what it does. So we got it all with all our spices. You can add any spices to this. Now, you can add you some cayenne, you can add you some paprika, you can add you a little bit of chipotle ground dry seasoning to it, and that's going to give it a little bit of spice to it for sure. You know, me and Mr. Brown don't like a lot of spices, but I may end up putting a little bit of chipotle dry rub on it. Maybe, not sure. May have to ask Mr. Brown how spicy he wants it. Okay, let's get our garlic out. Like I said, I'm going to use minced garlic to put in these holes. But you can use whole garlic cloves. Just put as many down in there and stuff it full. And I have got several holes. You put as many holes as you want. This is your piece of meat. You do it the way you like it. A lot of times when I'm showing y'all a recipe, it's just recipe that... it's just something that maybe we've done, you know, down through our family. This is the way we cook something. We've done it for many years. Sometimes we don't just have a written recipe. We just do it. And it's just always been good. Like I said, pork is one of my favorite meats. I am a meat eater. But if I had to become vegetarian, I guess I could, because I love vegetables more than I do meat. But my grandpa raised a bunch of hogs. He was a hog farmer too. He raised cattle and hogs, and we ate a lot of pork, so I just love it. Okay, we got it ready. Fixing to put the marinade on. And we're just going to pour as much of this orange and lemon juice around it. Now, if there's anything else that you want to put in with this orange juice, feel free. If you want to put you a little bit of soy sauce or anything like that, feel free to do it. I'm going to try to get as full as I can. I'm going to put this in the refrigerator, and every once in a while, probably a couple of times, I'll go through there and I'll just turn that meat while it's in the refrigerator marinating. But I'm going to leave it in there all day. And you can leave it in there all night and then put it in the oven or your slow cooker the next day. Whichever, how you're going to do it. You may be going to do it on the smoker outside or on the grill. Oh my goodness, that'd be good. Okay, this is our pork after it's been marinating all day. We've got it in the slow cooker. I'm going to go ahead and put the juices over it. It's probably been marinating about 8 hours today, because I put it in there pretty early this morning. And this is going to cook all night. I'm going to put some bay leaves in here with it. You can cut you up some onions if you want to put in here. Maybe some peppers. Would be wonderful. We're just going to put the lid on it. I'm going to put it on low for 10 hours. And then I'm going to go to bed. And I'll probably wake up and smell this cooking, and it's going to smell really good. So when we get up in the morning, our pork will be done, and here it is. Look at all that juice. Now, I won't use all this juice. I'll drain some of that juice off when I go to shred my pork. So here's our pork after it's been shredded. I did add a little bit of chipotle powder to it to give a little bit of spice. And here's all our goodies here. You can see we've got different salsas. We got some mango salsa, salsa verde. We've got some lettuce, tomato, cheese. This is what my plate looks like with the Cuban pork on it. We got some guacamole. We got some jalapenos. We got beans. We've got rice. And y'all, this is going to be a wonderful lunch, I can tell you. And we're using these carb counter tortillas. And I'm telling you, we really like them. Here's some little bitty ones for the little kids. But we really like these. And we can count our carbs with them. So Mr. Brown's fixing him a plate, and it looks really good. He's got some of that mango salsa on there. He's going to put some cheese. He's done put his Cuban pork on there. You can eat that Cuban pork with just your rice and beans, or you can make you a street taco just like this. He's going to put some lettuce on there. You can put sour cream. Like I said, I've got guacamole. What do you think, Mr. Brown? Yeah, it's good. I hope y'all enjoyed this recipe. It'll feed a lot of people. God bless everybody. We'll see you in a couple of days.